Scarlet Elvandimian has been engaged to Prince Kyle even before they were born thanks to a pact between their families. However, that pact is suddenly torn apart in the middle of a fancy ball as Kyle calls off the engagement because he is fed up with Scarlet and now he wants to be with his side chick Taraneza, while Scarlet is horrified at this betrayal. The guests in the party clap for Kyle and Taraneza as he declares that he is going to marry her soon. She can't understand how they can all be on board with this douchebag who just kicked off his fiance, but she soon learns the reason behind it. Kyle praises Taran, saying that she is a kind and smart woman, while Scarlet is just a without any emotions. He says that pretending to be happily engaged to her for the past 17 years has been the greatest disgrace of his life, and he is really happy that he can be free from her at last. Scarlet is not ready to back down so easily, and she reminds Kyle that the engagement was fixed by their parents and he cannot cancel it by himself. Kyle replies that he can cancel the engagement without seeking anyone's approval, because Scarlet is a petty criminal who has been harassing Taran out of jealousy. Taran starts acting like a victim as Kyle begins talking about how Scarlet bullied her on the academy campus. Scarlet calls that cap because she is meeting Taran for the first time in person as they are in different classes. However, Kyle had only 2 brain cells to begin with, and he has lost them after falling in love with Taran. He thinks that Scarlet is trying to insult his new fiancée by pointing out that she is in the elite class while Taran is from the normal class. He says that Taran has told him about all the times Scarlet bullied her, including locking her in the toilet and pushing her down the stairs. He calls her a cruel villainess, and Scarlet decides that she has enough of this man-child insulting her. She tells Kyle that she doesn't even care about the accusations anymore, and she is going to accept the nullification of the engagement too. However, she asks Kyle for one final thing before they end their relationship for good. The prince is not willing to give her even that, but Taran is confident of her victory, and she tells him to hear out the pitiful woman so that she has no regrets. Kyle starts simping for her kindness and then asks Scarlet what does she want. She slowly walks towards them and makes a tight fist, telling Kyle that her final wish is to punch the bitch in the face. Kyle is taken aback by her statement and asks her if she has lost her mind, but instead of answering him, Scarlet throws a punch at Taran's face with the most graceful form that even Muhammad Ali would approve of. However, behind this single punch is a long-ass backstory, and for better or for worse, we need to sit through all of it to see the payoff. Ever since Scarlet was little, she really liked hitting people, and every other week she would pummel some unfortunate soul senseless with her fists. Her brother Leonardo always lectured her about her violent tendencies, but Scarlet told him that she was doing this for the greater good. While Leonardo knew that Scarlet saved a commoner from a noble brat this time, he couldn't forget how she looked with blood all over her. He told her that she was going to be a part of the noble society at a ceremony soon, and she should stop punching people and behave like a lady. That would prove to be the greatest challenge for Scarlet as she met the insufferable asshole Kyle for the first time in the ceremony. He told her that she would be his servant from that day onwards, and Scarlet used all her willpower to stop the urge to punch him in the face, because she knew that he was the second prince of this country as well as her fiancé. That was only the beginning of her suffering as Kyle continued to bully her and play pranks on her, while her hands were tied by their family situation. Even her father could not help her because they were dealing with the royal family, so Scarlet endured the torture for many years. Eventually, she turned 15 and entered the National Academy with top grades and quickly earned a lot of fans. Unfortunately, Kyle was there too, and he publicly declared that she would serve him as his slave even in the academy. However, Scarlet had become immune to his bullying and tantrums by now, so she kept a poker face while dealing with him. A few days later, Kyle stormed into her classroom in a really foul mood and started abusing her while telling her to buy him lunch. Scarlet apologized and told him that she would do so immediately, but the asshole was not satisfied, and he dragged her away to punish her while leaving his cronies to watch over the girls so that they didn't snitch to the teachers. Scarlet soon learned that Kyle was pissed because he was demoted to the regular class because of his bad grades, and he wanted to vent out that frustration by attacking her. He decided to cut her hair and take them to his class as a trophy, and even with Scarlet's seasoned patience, that was pushing the line. She told him to stop or she would complain to her family, but Kyle insulted her father, calling him just a lapdog for the royal family. Scarlet was about to send his pitiful ass into the shadow realm, but luckily, the first Prince Julius was nearby and he immediately stepped in to stop the fight. Kyle couldn't do anything in front of his brother and left after getting lectured by him. Scarlet knew he would come back to bother her again, but she thanked Julius for saving her. He replied that he was just saving his younger brother before making small talk with Scarlet, who began to respect him for his good character. She knew that Prince Julius was the top candidate for becoming the next king, but the corrupt nobles feared him, and they were backing Kyle to save their ass. However, the respect she had for the first prince soon turned into jealousy when she found that Julius had scored the perfect marks in all subjects, ending her streak as the top scorer. She thought that Julius must be really exceptional and hardworking, but as he approached her and told her how easy it was to get full marks, she got pissed. She took it personally and worked really hard to beat him the next time, but rumors spread that Julius lost on purpose because he wanted to make her happy. Scarlet was even more frustrated at this, and she decided to ignore him completely, but Julius kept pestering her. He even followed her after school, asking how things were going between her and Kyle, and Scarlet suddenly realized that Kyle had not made any attempts of harassing her lately despite the humiliation he endured the other day. She realized that Julius was hounding her so that Kyle would stay away, and she almost began to see him in a positive light. Julius then suddenly started flirting with her, and Scarlet would have fallen for it if he hadn't called her an interesting creature. She was shocked by his remarks, but it turned out that Julius was not lying, and he really thought that Scarlet was an interesting creature worth studying, and he even kept notes about her. That was the point she started hating Julius and wished to punch him along with Kyle someday. Back to the present. All her rage finally finds an exit point in the form of Taryn's face. With one punch, Scarlet sends her flying and knocks 2 more guys along with her. Kyle freaks out at this and asks her what the hell is she doing, and Scarlet coldly replies that she was bothered by his cruel remarks, and Taryn had to pay the price for that. She then walks towards the crowd of stunned nobles, fully aware that every single one of them is a corrupt bastard. She is angry at them because they celebrated when Kyle canceled the engagement, so she wears her punching gloves that she keeps with her at all times in case of an emergency. The nobles panic and call the guards, but Scarlet immediately puts them to sleep with magic before pummeling the nobles one by one. The nobles begin requesting anyone to protect them, offering their slaves in return, even though slave trading is illegal in the country. Scarlet realizes that these men are unrecyclable pieces of trash, and there would be no weight on her conscience if she knocks them all senseless. So she activates her special time magic to boost her speed and begins her rampage with her fists that are rated E for everyone. Soon, all the nobles are on the ground. Kyle is the last one remaining, and he has already pissed his pants after seeing Scarlet's true form. She tells him that it is his turn now, and just as she is about to punch him, her brother Leonardo comes there to stop her. However, he is too late, and Scarlet punches Kyle into a wall, feeling really refreshed. While Leonardo is horrified on seeing the nobles scattered on the ground, Julius is really amused. Scarlet is almost tempted to smack him in the face too, but she decides not to go so far right now. She goes over to Julius and Leonardo to greet them, and they ask her what was the reason behind her violent outburst. At first, Scarlet talks like ChatGPT, saying that they did unspeakable crimes and then started justifying themselves, so she punished them on the spot. But when Julius asks her to give him the exact details, she replies that they pissed her off, so she knocked them out. Leonardo gets a mini heart attack on hearing this, but Julius starts laughing, saying that he wishes someone invented cameras already because he really wanted to see how Scarlet beat all the nobles. He says she should have waited for him to come here to start her slugfest, but Scarlet tells him that it is an unreasonable request. Meanwhile, her brother starts to spiral out of control, thinking about the consequences, but Julius assures him that he will take care of things here. Scarlet suddenly starts feeling dizzy and falls to the ground, with Julius catching her head just before she hits the ground. Scarlet wakes up 3 days later, hearing the sound of bells in her head. As she slowly comes to her senses, she realizes that she used too much of the power that Cronoa, the god of time, has blessed her with. However, the moment she opens her eyes, she finds a maid on top of her, pointing a knife at her. Scarlet calmly asks the maid who is she, but she yells at her to die and tries to stab her. However, she cannot beat Scarlet's reaction time and gets punched into a wall instantly. Leonardo comes running on, hearing a loud sound from his sister's room, and he is aghast on seeing that the first thing she did after returning to her senses was punching someone. Anyway, he tells her how worried he was about her. When Julius enters the room, once Scarlet freshens up, Julius informs her that her engagement with Kyle has been officially cancelled with the permission of their families. Kyle has been kicked out from the royal family's inheritance for shielding nobles involved in slave trading, and all the nobles at the party have been arrested as well. Scarlet is pleased to hear that and asks Julius if she will also be punished. He tells her that she is too important for the royal family to be punished, but till this matter dies down, she is going to have a hard time finding a man ready to marry her. However, he also has good news for her. Julius tells Scarlet that her recent act has become a famous story all over the kingdom, and people are talking about her like she is Batman. They call her the blood-stained lady who sent hordes of evil nobles to prison with just her fists, and she is like a hero to them all. Leo is devastated on hearing another menacing nickname for his sister, but Julius tells him that there are more important things they need to deal with first. Among the nobles that got arrested, there are many prominent names who hold government offices, but their biggest challenge is the Prime Minister, who has been the biggest supporter of Kyle's faction. Julius says that the king also suspected the corruption in Kyle's faction, so he formed an organization called CIO2 in order to investigate it, and Leo is its current head. He then calls in one of their agents who was the first person to infiltrate Kyle's faction and bring valuable information. The agent turns out to be Sigurd, a lackey of Kyle, who immediately apologizes to Scarlet for behaving rudely with her all this time. Scarlet replies that he deserves an Oscar for his believable performance, and Sigurd gets worried the more she talks about that. Julius gives her the permission to punch him if she wants to put things behind them, and Scarlet takes the offer. However, she just lightly taps Sigurd on the cheek because he had also rescued rescued her a lot of times while working for Kyle. After that, she takes her leave, realizing that she is finally free to do whatever she wants now that she is no longer bound to Kyle. The first thing on her list is interrogating the maid who tried assassinating her in the morning. Scarlet goes to the warehouse where the maid Nanaka is locked, but she finds that the maid has ditched her clothes. Suddenly, a feral cat attacks her, but Scarlet smacks it down and identifies that the maid was actually a shape-shifting beast folk. She tells Nanaka to return to human form so that they can talk, and it turns out that the maid was actually a boy all along. He is determined to kill Scarlet at all costs, and she realizes it is because of the slave crest on his chest that makes him obey any command from his master. She asks Nanaka if he will be willing to tell her everything about his master if she can free him, and he tells her to go ahead and try it. Scarlet takes that as a yes, and immediately pins him to the ground before using her powers to reverse the time on his slave crest. In this world, all humans are born favored by a god, but most people never realize which god blessed them. Those who realize it can use the powers granted to them by the god, and Scarlet is blessed by Cronoa, the god of time, which is the reason the royal family highly values her. She uses the powers of Cronoa to restore Nanaka's body to the condition before he was enslaved, but that tires her out. Anyway, the twink holds to his end of the promise and tells Scarlet that the person who sent him here was Prime Minister Godwin. Godwin's son was among Scarlet's victims at the party, and he ordered Nanaka to kill her, but he was sent here long before that to spy on her family. Nanaka tells Scarlet that Godwin is a crafty guy who sends spies to all noble families to learn their secrets and then blackmails them into joining the slave deal so that they can fall even deeper into his trap. Well, that is enough for Scarlet, and she gets ready to visit Godwin's house to whoop his Nanaka tells her to stop because Godwin is always surrounded by guards, but that is not going to stop Scarlet. So the crossing servant tells her that she will find a better chance to beat him when he attends a slave auction in a week. He doesn't know the location of the auction yet, but he promises Scarlet that he can get her in touch with the slave trader, because he is willing to do anything to get revenge on the bastard who enslaved him and many other people of his species. Scarlet is glad to accept his help and takes him along, unaware that Julius has heard her entire plan. A couple days later, Scarlet and Nanaka go to the slums to find the slave trader, and she talks about a chunk of mithril that she bought from a kid for 1 gold coin. Nanaka tells her that she got scammed, but Scarlet doesn't believe him. She then turns to Julius, who tagged along with them without invitation. At first, he says that he wants to learn more about his people, because that will help him become a better king, but when Scarlet presses him, he confesses that he overheard her conversation and realized that he can't miss this amusing opportunity to see some guys getting knocked out senseless. Just then, a bunch of thugs come there, and Scarlet gets excited that she has got someone to beat. However, Nanaka tells her to keep her battle tendencies in her pants because he can talk his way out of it. He approaches the thugs and offers to pay them if they take them to the trader named Junk, but they refuse to do business with weak-looking people like them. They talk about how a kid told them that a stupid rich woman bought a rock from him for 1 gold coin, and they decided to take advantage of that. They also beat the boy and took his gold coin on the way to show that strong prey on the weak, and hearing that pisses off Scarlet. She decides that these guys deserve a beating and enhances her strength before using his power to increase her speed. She knocks out 3 of the thugs quickly, and then aura farms on the remaining 2, who realize they are dealing with the infamous violent noblewoman. Anyway, Scarlet knocks the eye patch guy down and then turns to the last remaining bandit who said that the strong prey on the weak. She says that by his logic, she is free to do anything to him, and he begs for mercy, promising to return money to the kid. Scarlet tells him that he can do it after getting beaten, but the thug immediately uses the location of the slave trader as a bargaining chip. However, he foolishly reveals the location immediately, and Scarlet thanks him before knocking him out. She then turns back to Julius, who is clapping for her and asks what was he doing while she was fighting. He asks her if he should have intervened, and Scarlet immediately refuses. After that, Julius decides to talk to the slave trader Junk by himself, fearing that he may identify Nanaka, or that Scarlet might beat him senseless before getting any information out of him. He manages to do so in a matter of minutes by bluffing and threatening him, and finds the location of the next slave auction. On the way back, Scarlet calls Julius a potential conman, and he replies that it is still better than being a violent maniac. Nanaka wonders if this is the enemies to lovers genre he has heard so much about. But then suddenly, Scarlet and Julius get on the same page as they ask him about ideas to infiltrate the auction. Soon, Scarlet goes to visit a nobleman named Zatharin, who is actually the slave trader whose contact Junk gave them. Zatharin is really happy to see a new customer in front of him, but he still tells Scarlet that it is not ladylike to go and talk to a lowlife like Junk just to reach him when she could have asked any noble she knew for his address. Scarlet says that it doesn't matter now and then asks Zatharin about his relationship with Junk. Zah says that they didn't have any business relations and he just hired Junk to bring him any potentially valuable slaves that end up in the slums. Scarlet asks him what he means by that, and he replies that dwarves, elves, beastmen, and other species fall in the valuable category, and then he points out at Nanaka, saying that the beastman is also a really valuable specimen. As Nanaka gets anxious on hearing this, Scarlet asks Zah how he figured out his servant was a beastman, and he replies that he has enough experience in this line of work. He starts laughing dealing with that, and Scarlet is almost tempted to beat the crap out of him right there. But Nanaka stops her, saying that they need to stick to the plan. Anyway, once the sick bastard stops laughing, he asks Scarlet what kind of slave she wants. She tells him that she has heard about a slave auction going to be held in the capital soon, and she wants to attend that. Zathrin gets serious on hearing that, and says that to join the auction, she needs to get verified. For that, she needs to reveal her status to other people in the auction circle, and buy or sell at least 6 slaves. Scarlet offers him any amount of money he wants, but Zathrin replies that it is not about the money. Instead, he says that if she can give him the beastfolk slave she has, he will take her to the auction as the daughter of a distant relative. Scarlet is really furious on hearing this, but she somehow controls her anger and smiles politely, saying that if this is all that it takes to enter the auction, she is ready to give the slave to him. Soon after that, Scarlet and Nanaka leave the mansion, and she still can't believe that slave trade is being carried out so openly in the kingdom. She is also glad that everything worked according to the plan, and Zap behaved exactly like how Nanaka predicted. Nanaka is also surprised to see that Scarlet doesn't use her fists to solve all her problems, and she begins pinching him for joking around. As they return home after that, Scarlet asks Nanaka if he is sure about this, because even though she can clear his slave crest afterwards, she cannot protect him when he is a slave. Nanaka replies that it sounded like he was going to put him up for auction, and he won't let anyone hurt his merchandise before the auction. He adds that he is doing this to atone for the crime of trying to kill her, and then suddenly starts yawning. Scarlet understands that beastfolk are mostly active during night and sleep during the day, and the very next moment, Nanaka transforms into his animal form as he falls asleep in Scarlet's arms. She takes him back to the inn where Prince Julius is waiting for them. Scarlet tells him that the negotiations were successful, and he is shocked to hear that she was able to handle the situation without punching anyone. Scarlet is already pissed at this comment, and then Julius says that he should have been with her to see this rare occasion where she solved things without violence, but the prince of the country can't go out to buy slaves. Scarlet doesn't plan to deal with him, so as soon as she puts Nanaka to bed, she decides to go outside to get some fresh air. Julius says that he was thinking the same thing, and he accompanies her, staying close to her all the time. Scarlet is irritated by this, but Julius keeps following her, saying that he has some business in this street. Just then, an apple pie merchant calls out to Scarlet, saying that he has an offer for cute girls. He says if she buys an apple pie, he will give her a free apple, and Julius decides to take advantage of the offer and buys 2. Next, a jewelry merchant tries to sell some cheap jewelry to her, and Julius buys that too, but not before haggling. He makes a purchase from a shady fortune teller as well, and Scarlet asks what business does he actually have on this street. Julius replies that he just made that up and calls Scarlet cute for believing such an obvious lie. She is really pissed at him and punches a nearby wall because she can't punch the prince in the face. Julius just chuckles at that and then gives her an apple pie. That makes Scarlet feel like she is flying to heaven. Julius then apologizes for teasing her, but she replies that he can't win her apology with just an apple pie. However, adding another apple pie to that does the job, and Scarlet quickly forgives him. After that, Scarlet remarks that Julius knows the city's layout very well, and he replies that he used to skip classes regularly to explore the city. He asks how does she feel on seeing the market, and Scarlet remarks that when Kyle used to send her to buy bread for him, she didn't have much time to look around. However, now that she sees it, the market looks like a cheerful place. Julius is glad that she likes it, and he says that every time he came here, he wanted her to see this place. Scarlet wonders if he tagged along just because he wanted to show her around, and thinks that if he had just said it, she would not be as irritated. Suddenly, Julius starts monologuing, saying that he hates being bored. Ever since he was a kid, the only things that caught his interest were ugly and twisted things. He was always surrounded by stupid nobles who wanted to get into his good books, and he had to keep acting in front of them. However, then he saw Scarlet, who was not at all interested in him. On top of that, he saw his younger brother bullying her, so he decided to talk to her. He told her that he could complain to his dad if Kyle was scaring her, but Scarlet just gave him a creepy smile as she said that he just cracked a nice joke. That was the moment she had his undivided attention, and he never stopped finding her interesting. He once again says that he finds most things in the world boring, but he hates being bored. That is why he tries to keep interesting things around him, and right now, there is no one more interesting to him than Scarlet. With that, he suddenly leans in for a kiss to her cheeks, and Scarlet is dumbfounded. Julius says that this is not the traditional romantic love, but he is confident that he likes her, and she is very dear to him. Later that night, as Scarlet sits alone in her room, she still can't believe what just happened. She plops on the bed, wondering if the kiss was another of the prince's tricks to annoy her. The next day, Scarlet goes to meet Zack again, and tells him that she will hand over Nanaka to him, but he must honor his promise. He agrees, but before that, he asks Scarlet for proof that the slave is really a beastfolk. She asks him if he doesn't trust her, and he replies that it is just his policy to confirm the goods before accepting them. Scarlet orders Nanaka to transform, and he immediately turns into a cat or dog or whatever that creature is. Zathrin is delighted to see that, and just then, a big scary man with fangs growing out of his lower jaw enters the room. He stares at Scarlet and asks her if she is the slave they are taking in today. Zath tells the slave named Donovan that Scarlet is their customer, and the beastfolk with her is the slave. Nanaka clearly is not pleased to see him, and Scarlet also realizes that Donovan is a half-human and half-magic beast, which makes him a lycanthrope. catastrophe. Zach apologizes for his slave's rude behavior and then tells him to take away the beast. Donovan gets excited on seeing it and remarks that beastmen are known for their speedy regeneration. He puts a metal collar around Nanaka's neck and starts pulling him away, but Nanaka resists, making him angry. He swings his barbed whip in the air to hit him, but then suddenly, Scarlet grabs the whip with her bare hands. She tells Zach that his slave is quite well behaved, and if he doesn't have the guts to punish him, she can do it for him. Donovan just scoffs at him, and even Zach looks down on Scarlet, telling her not to provoke his slave, because he is a former rank adventurer. He claims she needs to be as strong as a knight captain to take him down, and Scarlet asks him why does it matter, and grows confused and tells her that he's just worried about her. But then Donovan declares that it is too late. He is not going to let a woman walk all over his pride, and he decides to teach her a lesson. He starts pulling the whip away from her, but he can't even get it out of Scarlet's tight grip. He tries even harder, and Zach tells him to stop joking around, because there is no way a girl can win against a man in a much higher weight category. Donovan replies that he is seriously trying his best, and then Scarlet asks Zach if Donovan is going to be put up for auction as well. He replies that he is going to keep Donovan as his personal bodyguard and trainer for other slaves, and that is good news for Scarlet because she doesn't need to worry too much about him losing value after taking some damage. And then Scarlet suddenly tosses Donovan into the air before punching him into the stratosphere. Zatherin's flappers are gasted on seeing this, but Scarlet doesn't care about him. She turns to Nanaka and removes his collar to see that he is bleeding. She uses her healing magic to treat his wounds and hugs him, telling him that she will be back for him soon, and in the meantime, he should bear with the troubles he faces here. Scarlet turns to the noble about the broken window, and he tells her that she doesn't need to pay for the repairs. He even thanks her for disciplining Donovan because he always fails to do that himself. Once Scarlet returns to her inn, she finds a familiar carriage parked outside the door. Her brother comes out of it, and he is really mad at her. He tells her that she can tell him the full story once they reach the capital, and as Scarlet sees Julius in the carriage, she curses him for being a useless prince who couldn't even stop her brother from finding out about them. Once they reach the capital, Leo starts drinking hard liquor at the tea table, asking both Julius Scarlet if they have any common sense. He asks how could they risk their lives so casually, but Julius replies that they found the location of the slave auction, so it is alright. Leo calms down before saying that he also did some research and found that Prime Minister Godwin is organizing the auction himself. Scarlet tells him that the auction is in 2 days, and Leo panics as he starts planning things for the big mission. In the meantime, Scarlet starts staring at Julius, who smiles and asks if she wants some apple pie like they had the other day. She gets pissed at him for no reason, but then Leo interrupts them, saying that he has come up with a plan. First, he wants Scarlet to return home, but she refuses, saying that it is the only thing she can't do. Leo thinks that the only reason motivating her is punching Godwin in the face, but she replies that it is more than that. She says that ever since she was a little, she saw that good people suffer, while evil nobles keep on prospering. She believes that greedy evil bastards can't be punished using normal means, and she needs to do something about them in her way. She suddenly gets up, saying that selfish and greedy nobles are the most satisfying targets to punch. Leo and Julius have their usual reactions to her violent tendencies, and Scarlet says that normal people can't even beat nobles, but since she is the daughter of a high-ranking duke, she will be fine. Julius agrees with her, much to Leo's dismay, who fears that Scarlet's violent nature will ruin their family's reputation. However, the bigger problem is that people from the Vanquish Empire might be there at the auction. Both Scarlet and Julius get tense on hearing about that, because the Vanquish Empire has been at odds with their Palestine kingdom for the last 300 years. They are known to be ruthless people who respect power as the only hierarchy, and they are ruled by strong dragon riders. Even though peace talks have started between the two nations recently, Leo has confirmed news that the Vanquish Air Force has been in contact with Godwin recently. Coincidentally, at the same time, Godwin is having a meeting with some officials from the Vanquish Aerial Army. He is furious at Scarlet for crashing Kyle's party and derailing their plans, and asks the soldiers to get rid of her. The red-headed soldier gladly accepts the mission and flies away on his dragon, but Godwin is not pleased by his cocky attitude. Just then, a girl tells him to forget about the dragon riders and look at what she has got. She points a gun at Godwin, but since guns have not been invented in this world yet, he doesn't know what it is. The girl tells him that it is a gift from Goddess Palmia, and Godwin pulls out his pendant, saying that he already has a gift from her. He doesn't think that the funny-looking cylinder can do anything, but as the girl shoots a flower vase with a pistol, he is shocked out of his senses. The girl turns out to be none other than Taryn, Kyle's side chick, and she tells Godwin to use this weapon that can kill even the most fearsome enemies to win his upcoming battles. Soon, the day of the auction arrives, and Zach nervously welcomes Scarlet to the auction house. He gives her a mask that is probably going to do nothing to hide her face, and Scarlet thanks him, wishing him the best of luck for today's auction. However, she smirks to herself, knowing that this is going to be the last auction for him and all the douchebag nobles involved. Zach then leads Scarlet to the hall, and she keeps thinking about her strategy. After they got the location of the auction, Julius immediately sent out the agents from his organization to infiltrate the place as servants. However, he knew they would all be unarmed inside the auction hall, and even if they used magic, they would not be able to arrest Godwin. That is why he told Scarlet to be their main combat unit, because unlike the rest of losers, she only needs her fists to beat up everyone. Scarlet confidently enters the auction hall with that in mind, and at the same time, Leonardo and other knights are waiting outside, ready to strike whenever Julius gives them the command. Leo is confident about their preparations, but he prays that Scarlet keeps her promise that she won't use violence unnecessarily. His stomach starts hurting because he knows she can't keep her fists in control, and he just hopes that their mission succeeds somehow. On the other hand, Scarlet is listening to the nobles talk about the kind of slaves they want from the auction. All of them have different tastes, but they agree that the main attraction for tonight's auction is the shape-shifting beast folk. Just then, the lights go out and Scarlet accidentally bumps into a man. He apologizes and walks away, and she feels like she has heard his voice before. However, she doesn't have much time to think about it as the announcer enters the stage and officially starts the auction. He first brings a one-winged bird woman to the stage, and the nobles immediately start bidding. Scarlet watches them from the balcony, barely controlling her rage when suddenly, Julius comes there. She asks him what is he doing here when he is supposed to lead the mission, and he responds that he came here to check on her. Scarlet starts walking away, but Julius follows her around, asking her if she has found Godwin yet. She replies that she hasn't seen him, but she has an idea about where he could be. Julius urges her to take action quickly because the royal knights are stationed outside the gate, and they might take away her target if she doesn't hurry. Scarlet immediately offers him a trade, asking him to delay calling the royal knights because she will give him the show of a lifetime by pummeling Godwin in front of him. Julius is immediately sold on hearing her offer, because that is why he joined the undercover troops. However, just getting the show of the Prime Minister's whooping is not enough for him, and he asks Scarlet what will she give him in return for delaying the command to the knights. She thinks about it for a second, and then promises to swear her loyalty to the crown and the kingdom for the rest of her life. Julius immediately rejects that pitch, telling Scarlet that he is not asking her to do anything for the crown. He gently holds her face, asking her to swear loyalty to him instead. Scarlet replies that it is going to be the same thing eventually because he will be the next emperor. But Julius tells her that he is impatient. She hesitates, but the prince makes it clear that she won't get what she wants if she doesn't promise her loyalty to him right now. Scarlet gives up and pleads her loyalty to him, and Julius is really happy to hear that. He asks her about Godwin's location after finally dealing with all this stuff, and Scarlet believes that he is overseeing everything from the highest balcony. Julius tells her they should hurry to his location in that case, and Scarlet replies that she is more impatient than him to beat it out of the corrupt prime minister. At the same time, in the prison, the guards take away an elf woman while her daughter is left behind. She struggles to follow her mom, but Nanaka holds her back, telling her that it is pointless. The girl starts crying while the other slaves pray to gods and saints to save them, but Nanaka promises that all of them will be safe. On the other hand, Scarlet puts the guards to sleep, and Julius praises her magic control. She begins sulking at this, reminding him that he beat her in the magic practicals in the academy, and Julius is low-key happy on seeing her jealousy. Just then, they come across a bunch of thugs, and Scarlet immediately realizes that they are Godwin's private guards. She decides to treat them as appetizers before the main dish and takes off her gloves to wear her diamond-studded knuckles. She doesn't even use the blessing of Cronoa to increase her speed and whoops the asses off all the thugs, before breaking the door of the room where Godwin is enjoying the show with his closest allies. While everyone is still processing what is going on, Scarlet confidently walks into the room and throws off her mask, telling Godwin that her fists have been itching to meet his face. Godwin is shocked to see her, but his son is furious because he has a score to settle with Scarlet. He casts a lightning spell to attack Scarlet, but Julius uses the royal ring to cancel the spell immediately. Godwin panics on seeing the royal ring that can nullify any spell cast by the people of the Empire, because only the Emperor and Julius can have it. Julius immediately begins look-maxing, and the corrupt noble their pants because they are doomed now. However, they convince each other that the blonde guy in front of them is an imposter, and Godwin decides to deal with him and Scarlet quickly. He commands a special slave to be brought in for that, and Scarlet identifies the ferocious beastman as Donovan, who has simply transformed into his beast mode. Godwin commands Donovan to kill both Scarlet and Julius, but just then, Sigurd arrives there and slashes his hand. Scarlet realizes that the guy she bumped into earlier was Sigurd, who was still acting like Kyle's loyal follower to infiltrate the auction. Godwin is too frustrated now, and he commands everyone to attack the intruders. Sigurd takes charge on the other side and tells Scarlet and Julius to stay behind him. However, Scarlet grabs his collar and pulls him back, telling him that the nobles here are her targets, and he is not going to touch them. The sub gets low-key turned on as Scarlet tells him that he is only permitted to fight Donovan, while she will handle the rest of the scumbags. He immediately accepts her order and lets Scarlet have the time of her life, swinging the nobles around and creating a mini cyclone. No one even dares to get close to her on seeing her menacing smile, but Scarlet comes for all of them one by one, tossing a couple of them out of the balcony in her rampage. Soon after that, Leo rushes inside to check what is going on because he never got the signal from the prince, and he is aghast on seeing the bloody visuals. Scarlet is standing proudly in front of a heap of defeated nobles, and Leo thinks that she has finally become a mass murderer. Scarlet tells him that she held back so no one is actually dead, but just then, they notice Sigurd struggling to fight Donovan. The rest of the guests are running away in panic, and Leo thinks that some of them might escape at this rate. Julius agrees with him and decides that they should mobilize the knights, but Scarlet reminds him that she has not yet pummeled Godwin. Despite that, Julius orders Leo to send the knights after Godwin, and Scarlet says that this is not what he promised. He assures her that only she will get the right to beat the Prime Minister senseless. Leo turns back on hearing this and asks what the hell is going on. Julius explains that he has exchanged vows with Scarlet, so he has to keep his promise to her. Leo is astonished to hear this, because he thinks that Julius and Scarlet have exchanged wedding vows. He gets emotional thinking that his sister has finally found the guy she wants to spend her life with. But Scarlet doesn't understand why he is being so dramatic. Julius realizes that both of them are a bit dumb when it comes to reading the room, but he decides to ignore them and sends a signal to the knights waiting outside. Soon, Leo also recovers from his dramatic outburst and uses his special skill called clairvoyance to scan through the entire mansion. He finds Godwin and his son heading towards the roof, and immediately after that, he spots a dragon hovering above the rooftop. The three of them rush towards the roof, and Julius remarks that his theory that Godwin was working with the dragon riders of the Vanquish Empire turned out to be true. He says that they need to rush or Godwin will escape, but unfortunately, they are in the basement, and there are 5 floors in their way. Scarlet has a way to overcome that difficulty, and she takes off her shoes as she tells Leo to free Nanaka and all other slaves. She then activates the power of acceleration, crossing an entire flight of stairs in one leap. She jumps around the walls before breaking a window, and then leaps up directly to the rooftop. Using a lot of his power at once puts a heavy burden on her body, but the dragon as well as Godwin are in her sight right now, and she doesn't intend to let the old bastard get away. Meanwhile, Godwin and his son reach the dragon rider and begin insulting him. They say that a common soldier like him should get down from the dragon and meet them on equal footing, but the dragon rider is pissed at them. He calls them lowly humans and commands his dragon to deal with them. The dragon swings its heavy to smack away the 2 jerks, but just then, Scarlet descends from the sky like a meteor and blocks the dragon's tail, telling its rider that she can't let him harm her punching bags. She has already squished Godwin's son under her feet and casually tells him that he is next. However, the dragon rider suddenly jumps down, telling Scarlet that he never expected someone to stop his dragon's tail with just one hand. He kneels before her and throws away his hood, saying that he has fallen in love with her. He asks her to marry him, much to everyone's shock, but Scarlet refuses his proposal and smacks him away. The dragon tries to avenge his master by attacking Scarlet, but she grabs its mouth and pins it to the ground. In that time, the dragon rider gets back up, and after seeing Scarlet beat him and his dragon, he is even more interested in her. He once again asks her to accept his proposal, but she punches him in the guts to take away his breath. The redhead still keeps rambling about how she is beautiful, strong, and graceful, so Scarlet kicks him away, thinking that this will be enough to take him down. However, he gets up, and even though he can barely stand up, he still wants Scarlet to marry him because he has never seen a strong woman like her. Scarlet tells him to stop acting like a fool because she knows that he is O'Flame, the first prince of the Vanquish Empire who came here to kill the incompetent Godwin. Godwin panics on hearing this, and then O'Flame confirms Scarlet's statement. He declares that he came to kill Godwin and his followers because traitors like them are the biggest threat to the peace of both the countries. Al throws his spear at Godwin to finish him off quickly, but Scarlet shatters the spear with a kick, telling him to step back. The prince immediately moves close and grabs her leg, and Scarlet notices that he was just acting to be weak earlier because his body still looks in great shape. She asks him if he is really confident in his endurance, and Godwin affirms, saying that he has the blessing to make his body as hard as steel, so he can't be defeated by physical attacks. He tells Scarlet that her attacks won't work on him, so she should just let him finish Godwin, but she refuses, saying that she has a way to defeat him. She then suddenly grabs his head, and Al lowers his guard, thinking that she is going in for a kiss. However, Scarlet pushes his head down and hits him with her full strength. Despite taking numerous knee blows to his face, Al acts that he is perfectly fine, but when he gets back up, he starts feeling dizzy because Scarlet's kicks gave him a concussion. He loses his balance, but not his desperation, and once again asks Scarlet to come with him because this kingdom of weaklings doesn't suit her. However, she has had enough of his ramblings, and she simply grabs his collar and activates her power to yeet him back to his kingdom. With that done, Scarlet finally turns her attention to Godwin, who is pissing his pants already. He apologizes for trying to kill her and for using Terran to break up her engagement with Kyle. The second statement is new for Scarlet, and she asks the minister if he helped Terran get close to Kyle. She says that if he helped her humiliate him in front of everyone that day, he is going to pay for it, and Godwin stammers as he tells her that he just followed Terran's plan. Scarlet is curious now, and Godwin sees a chance to escape. He promises information if she lets him go and begins telling her that Terran is not a normal girl, and she was summoned from another world by the goddess herself. Scarlet is not sure if he is speaking the truth, but the new information is enough to make her stop in her tracks for a while. Unfortunately for Godwin, Scarlet thinks that fear has turned him into a senile old man and he is just yapping stuff out of his ass to protect himself. She can't believe that Tamed is a girl from another world summoned by the goddess. So she decides to give Godwin the punishment he badly deserves. Godwin still tries to negotiate with her, offering her anything she wants. Scarlet thinks for a moment and then says that she needs a human punching bag with shifty eyes, pointed nose, and well-padded clothes. Godwin tells her she can have it, but then he suddenly realizes that she is describing him. Scarlet was waiting for this, and she uses Cronoa's power to make the time around her flow 100 times slower than normal, while she is the only one who can move normally. She punches Godwin on behalf of the people that he has exploited and those he kidnapped to sell as slaves. She punches him for ruining Nanaka's life and also for trying to kill her. And finally, she punches him just because she wants to beat the crap out of him. Just as Scarlet lands the final punch, her time magic wears off, and Godwin takes the delayed damage from all the punches at once. She courteously bows as Godwin is sent flying away. But then suddenly, she falls to her knees because she used too much of Cronoa's power. Her hair turned black from the tips and her hands start bleeding as well. Scarlet is worried that her brother will be disappointed in her. She loses her balance, but Julius arrives there just then to hold her. He uses his power to heal her while remarking that he wouldn't be able to believe that a human was fighting here if he didn't know her personally. Soon, Leo and others also come there and begin asking Scarlet if she is fine. They are also curious about where Godwin went, and she replies that he went through the wall just now. Unfortunately, Scarlet was underestimating the old Prime Minister, and he is still standing on his feet. He jumps down from the wall and pulls out the pistol that Tamed gave him to shoot Scarlet. But Julius jumps in front of her to stop the bullet with his body. Everyone is mortified on seeing this, but Godwin is happy that he at least got rid of one thorn from his path. Scarlet gets furious at him and immediately lunges towards him, throwing him to the ground with a punch. Godwin tells her that her punches won't hurt him because he has a gift from goddess Palmia that protects him from all damage. However, the idiot makes the mistake of showing it to Scarlet, and she immediately yanks it away from him before smashing his nose. She tells Godwin that he cannot be forgiven for the sin of killing Julius, and he should apologize to him in the afterlife. With that, she hits the old man with all her strength and sends him flying. She says that she has avenged Julius now, and asks him to watch over them from heaven. Julius coughs as he tells her that he is not yet dead, because Leo's healing magic saved his life. He asks Scarlet if she is disappointed that he is still alive, and she replies that she is glad to see that he is fine. Soon after that, all the nobles are arrested and Godwin is still alive despite taking Scarlet's full power punch. Meanwhile, Scarlet is resting in her carriage, satisfied that she got to beat the crap out of her target. At the same time, in the Vanquish Empire, Prince Al is stuck in a tree when his friend arrives there to rescue him. He kicks the tree, making Al fall to the ground, and then supports him as they walk over to his dragon. Al complains that all the bones in his body might be broken, but his friend tells him that his joke is not even funny because he has got the most durable body on the entire planet. The redhead prince reveals that he was yeeted here all the way from another country, and he must have used up all his blessing to stay alive despite that. Soon, they reach the dragon and fly home, and on the way, the blonde asks Al if he got to play with the toy he wanted. Al thinks about Scarlet, saying that he enjoyed playing with her far more than he had expected, and he wants to meet her again soon. Back in the kingdom, the news about Scarlet stopping the slave auction spreads like wildfire, and everyone begins calling her their kingdom's savior. The press visits the Royal Academy to talk to her friends about her hobbies and pets, and while the girls are wondering if Scarlet would have a cute fluffy cat or an elegant dog, her latest pet is the dragon named Rex that Al left behind. While Scarlet trains the dragon, Nanaka stares at her from afar with jealousy. Just then, her butler arrives there and tells her that he supplied all the merchants in the town with the item she came up with. He is not sure if it will even sell well because it is rather unique, but Scarlet is confident that at least Julius will buy a lot of it. The butler then points out that Nanaka seems to be jealous of her new pet, and Scarlet calls him to come and play with her too. Nanaka happily transforms into a pup and runs towards her, but the maids come there to take him away because they need help to prepare for the guests that will be coming soon. On the other hand, Tamed visits the prison, but the guards stop her. She uses her magic to brainwash them, and they allow her to pass through. She starts thinking about how she wants to have the most adorable fairy tale ending to her story. She wants to fall in love with a prince and overcome numerous challenges with him to achieve her happy ending. Everything she is doing is for the happy ending, and even now, she visits Godwin for the same. He is happy to see her and asks her to free him because he will do everything in his power to serve goddess Palmia. Tamed replies that she is grateful to him for suppressing other religions of the region to make Palmianism the major religion of the country. Godwin says that he can do even more if he is freed, but Tamed says that she has a gift for him from goddess Palmia. She uses her power to brainwash him too, and then leaves a bottle of poison on the floor. Godwin, now completely under her control, drinks the poison and Tamed walks away, thanking him for playing his role in her story, but she no longer needs him. The news of Godwin's death reaches Julius and others, but he finds it hard to believe that a resilient man like him would kill himself. Leo finds it suspicious as well because they have found nothing about Tamed, even though she is a major collaborator as per Scarlet's reports. Just then, Nanaka comes there with some old files that Leo requested. As they go through the files, Julius gets curious about the girl named Taryn who is able to control even the Prime Minister. He suddenly finds a note on the religion communism, and Nanaka turns around on hearing that. Julius explains to him that there are different religions in the kingdom and communism is one of the major ones. Leo adds further detail, saying that it rose to popularity just recently and has even been made the official religion of the kingdom. It worships Pomona, the goddess of beauty and love, and it is led by a pompous merchant who is an outright greedy person. Nanaka gets how it would be connected to Godwin, because he was the kind of guy to make a deal with every corrupt person he found. However, Sigurd brings the topic of the other big religion that has existed since the beginning of the kingdom's foundation. It is the religion of Dianism that worships Saintess Diana, who was a girl with the power of exorcism. Leo says that even though it is not the state religion, most people believe in Dianism, and if you ask common people, most of them would say that Dianism deserves the title. That reminds Sigurd that they have the official pilgrimage festival of Dianism coming up soon, and Julius leaves it to Leo as well because he doesn't want to deal with it. He suddenly brings up Scarlet and asks Leo how is she doing. Leo replies that she is doing really well, and just yesterday, she went out to hunt food for her dragon. Julius laughs on this and says that she is a truly remarkable and unique woman. He begins thinking how he will never be bored with Scarlet by his side and wonders if he should really ask for her hand in marriage. Leo beams with joy as he tells Julius to stop joking because he has exchanged vows with her already. Nanaka and Sigurd are stunned to hear this, and Leo tells them that Julius and Scarlet have promised their life to each other, but it is a top secret right now. He keeps gloating about how lucky his sister is, and Julius hopes that he will realize the truth one day by himself. In the meantime, he decides to pay a visit to his beloved. A few days later, Scarlet has completely tamed the dragon, and she perfectly rides on its back. Her friends from the academy visit her house, and just as they are at the gate, they see the dragon flying towards them. They don't see Scarlet riding it, and don't even wait for the butler to explain that the dragon is not a threat. They immediately attack it, and Scarlet somehow remains unharmed despite getting hit. Later, as they have tea, she learns that her friends thought that the dragon was an enemy. They proudly tell her that they obviously thought that because the enemy kingdom soldiers ride dragons, and they wanted to take one down just as they saw it. Scarlet is low-key pleased that they are still the same as before because she has not met them in a long time. The girls start bickering about how they were the boss in the girls' dorm without Scarlet being there. After that, they tell Scarlet to get healthy soon and return to the academy, because it is almost time for graduation, and they don't want to graduate without her. The purple-haired girl says that she wants to graduate quickly and get married to a good man. Scarlet has heard that the girl has already many suitors, but she replies that none of them are serious. She wants a man who is willing to risk her life for her, and though Scarlet is happy to hear about her dreams, it reminds her of how Julius risked his life to save her. She is not sure how she feels about that. But then her friends ask her if she has any plans for marriage. Scarlet doesn't have an answer for that question, but she is saved from answering it as Nanaka enters her room. She tells him that she is busy right now and will play with him later. But Nanaka tells her that he is not here to play. He is here with a guest, and the guest turns out to be none other than Julius. The girls are shocked to see him here, and as he greets them, they get on their feet and nervously greet him. Julius asks if he is disturbing them, and while Scarlet says that he is interrupting her tea time with her friends, but the girls are more than happy to give up that tea time for the company of the prince. He asks them if he can borrow Scarlet for a moment, and Scarlet doesn't like the way he phrased it. Julius, unbothered by her reaction, moves towards her and takes her hand, telling her that he wants to discuss something privately. The girls start drooling on seeing this scene, and they tell Julius to borrow her for as long as he likes. Scarlet feels as betrayed as Caesar felt when Brutus stabbed him. With that, Julius leads Scarlet outside and asks if she has heard that Godwin died while under arrest. She affirms, and then Julius adds that he investigated Taryn as per her reports, but Kyle knew nothing about her. They don't have any leads about her, so the investigation is completely halted. Scarlet finally understands why he wanted to talk in private, because they couldn't have discussed it in front of her friends. Julius notices her reaction and asks if she wanted to talk about something else instead. Scarlet replies that there is nothing she wants to talk about and asks him if he has something else to add. Julius says that her hair hasn't turned back to normal yet, and she affirms, saying that she plans to visit a hot spring soon to recover mentally and physically. Julius tells her that it is a good idea because she is an indispensable resource to their kingdom, and she should do whatever she needs to stay in best condition. He says he doesn't want to lose her over a small matter, and Scarlet replies that she feels the same way for him. Julius is taken aback by that, and Scarlet tells him never to do something as reckless as sacrificing himself for her. She says that she is happy that the royal family values her blessing so much, but if something happens to the future king because of her, she would never be able to forgive herself. Julius suddenly stops her, asking if he can pick the roses here, and she gives him the permission. Julius starts picking the roses as he reminds Scarlet of the time they went to the market together. He says that long ago, his parents also disguised themselves as commoners to enjoy the market, and Scarlet is surprised to hear that because they look like really serious people. Julius says that they are only serious and strict on the outside, but they are really romantic in private. He tells her that his father, the king, gave his mother thousands of gifts to win over her attention, but she only got bored with them. However, he gave her one gift that made her heart swoon, and she said yes to marry him. The gift was a crown of rose flowers he made with his own hands. And now Julius does the same. He puts the rose crown on Scarlet's head, telling her that he needs her. He tells her that with her, his world is colorful and full of wonderful things, but without her, it is gray and bland. He then gently holds her face, saying that she has stolen his heart, and Scarlet's heart skips a beat. She becomes weak in her knees as Julius gets close and asks her to stay with him forever. Scarlet is inclined to say yes, but then Julius calls her his most beloved toy, and her mood worsens. She asks if he really put love in making this rose crown, and he affirms, saying that he put his love for his most amusing toy in it. Scarlet is pissed now, but Julius walks away without a care, saying that he didn't realize she was as fascinated by romantic fantasies just like other girls of her age. He says that he almost forgot she was a human after seeing her pummel nobles left and right, and he couldn't have guessed that she wanted a romantic confession. Scarlet doesn't give him a reply, but instead wears her knuckled gloves, asking Julius if she has his permission to clobber him. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.